Hello, dear diary. I'm such a failure, honestly. Didn't even leave the house today. Supposed to see a friend or do something. There's a thunderstorm. I missed my class by misreading the schedule. Just stayed at home. Let the machine drag its tendrils across the wrinkles of my brain. Let my neurons turn to mush as they poured through the screen. It was an uneventful day, but I made it that way. I could have gone to a museum. I could have done anything. I could have gone somewhere, been someone. But instead, I was no one. Because when I'm no one, I always leave open the possibility to be anyone. But when I want to be anyone, I just end up being no one. Anyway, enough with the trite philosophizing. The important thing is I spent 16 hours on my phone and I wasted the entire day. I did some reading about the Vincha culture, and let's see what else. I listened to a podcast about Cambodia, like about the formation of the Khmer Rouge. Pretty interesting stuff. See, I always thought they were French-educated intellectuals, but it turns out that like a lot of them stayed in the mountains as part of like what the French called the maquis, which is interesting because they use that term, or the marquis or whatever, for French rebels that hid in the mountains of France during the resistance to the Vichy. And I think maquis just means mountains, because like the maquisards or whatever, or the maquisards, I don't know how to pronounce French. They're like, that's what they call the, or no, maybe it's montagne, is mountain. Maybe maquis is like another synonym. I'd have to look that up. I probably should have checked some sources instead of just relying on this podcast alone. Yeah, because La Montagne is like the revolutionary faction in the Directory, like during the French Revolution. They were related to the Jacobins, I believe. It's too complicated for me, like all those warring factions. But yeah, I was supposed to see a friend today. I did make some friends yesterday. I went to the chess club. They thought I was cool because I could draw a map from memory. But, I don't know, it's just average nerd shit these days. It's just gained from downloading the whole of the internet onto my cerebral cortex. But, you know, with a map of the world and the rise and fall of Sihanouk, I also learn Crocodilo, Bombadilo, and Las Vacas Saturnita, whatever the hell. Skibadiah, Hezekiah. For every Tiglath-Pileser, there's a John Pork, and for every Tim Cheese, there's a Ashurbanipal. It's hard to sort out the useful and from the useless. I don't know, when everything can be auto-generated and when relics can be forged in a workshop in southern Mexico. It seems like the truth is even more elusive than ever with all this information at our disposal. The fools of yesteryear thought it would clear things up. But it's just made everything much harder to discern. Maybe in the days before the internet, before the republic of letters that stretched across the world and into low Earth orbit and down below into the undersea cables, before that, maybe people knew for sure what their truth, or not the truth, but, you know, they thought they knew things for certain. Like the certainty of hell and heaven and God and that your parish priest was the only one who knew how to read besides the Shire Reeve, or they knew the certainty of death and famine. Now, even in modern day, the kings are spending billions on their new alchemy to try and achieve that great work of immortality. I guess nothing was ever certain, and that's why people came up with all those belief systems. Even the Devarajas knew not if they were gods, they just believed so. But I guess there's no accurate translation of faith into Pali or Sanskrit. I'm completely rambling, aren't I? None of this monologue has any coherence whatsoever. But I get some crumbs of validation from the many faceless voices online. Not here, though. Here I get 0 views, but maybe that's better. Maybe I don't want anybody to see this. I don't know. This video is probably going over the limit of most people's fickle attention spans. Not me. Whenever I'm looking for a YouTube video, I sort by duration over 20 minutes. Because I'm just built like that. Like, mere mortals couldn't comprehend my stupendous abilities. My sesquipedalian tendencies to make myself seem more enlightened than I actually am. Maybe I prefer talking to myself. I should be learning languages and reading books and traveling, leaving my squalid room filled with piles of clothes and broken postcards and unread books. I guess I have nothing more to say. Anyway, see you next time. Signing off.